I can see we got a whopping 0 viewers, but I do have one to my right, Bob, the problem solver. He's always here. We can always count on one. For those of you just tuning in, this is an inside look on the action adventure game hashtag Blood that we're making. An animation heavy, Zelda inspired, top down, kind of beat 'em up all over the grid, but it's looking fun. And we try to answer any questions and show you a little bit how we start animating this stuff. Last week we were continuing to work on the intro boards that we're going to be putting in front of the game and hopefully showing pretty soon. I got the board started right here. We're just going to watch it down. I did do a little bit of work on it between last week and this week, so this is all new for some of you. Here we go. Just really cleaned up a lot of stuff, honestly. Retimed some stuff. Cleaned up that part, that's new. And I cleaned up the end of this too. So that's all new, and we're sort of going to tie up the ending here. We're going to redline a few of them. Redline's just my thumbnail version of it. And we're going to button this thing up hopefully today, at least with the red line. And we sort of do have some stuff redlined already where they're kind of jumping up in the air. So we kind of have to figure that out. But first I want to get the characters, these 3 characters here. See, after they fight all these guys here, we zoom in to do a giant zoom out reveal. Then the main bad boss pops up, and we kind of had to make sure they're all in place and stuff for all this. So we're gonna just start kind of doing this straight ahead and getting all the little blood characters in here. So you can see I kind of did some white line drawings here, and we're gonna have to kind of figure out where they're gonna land and all this stuff. We're gonna have to restage some of this, I'm thinking too. So let me just watch this part down again. It goes pretty quick. Get my bearings. I feel like sound is going to add so much too. You see, that feels pretty quick. Maybe we could do a kind of like a, this feels like the ending, and then it's sort of like a reveal that it's not. So maybe we can let that breathe a tiny bit. Yeah, I think about that. Well, the camera shakes in last too. I know I've been doing that kind of straightforward. Let's figure out where all our 3 protagonists are going to be here. So what happens is Dragor pops out of the ground. He's this giant because he's sort of symbolic at the stage. Pops out. You can see the white dots down here. Those will be the 3 characters. They're kind of hanging on to all this debris, which will be a challenge in animation, but what I'll do first is animate Dragor, then the debris, then kind of worry about the characters last. We kind of want to pay attention to where he is most of all. He is kind of the new introduction to it, and the other 3 characters, with everything else going around, you don't have to be exactly too pragmatic or even accurate with all that stuff. So those white dots, and I think for the boards, I'm going to keep them white in the shadow here. And what happens here? He turns around, so they kind of zoom stage left here. They go down here while that turns. I'm gonna keep that arrow here. I'm gonna just redline some stuff here to plot out the direction. So they're gonna have to be showing up here. We're gonna have to show the ground coming up here, so going to plot out the ground here. The characters will probably be down here. So I'm just going to do a quick camera move with just groups here. Oh, I only see 4.
Oh, wow. Well, they could have dropped out already.
We already lost. We already lost 2. That's about accurate. We gain a few, we lose a few. Yeah, so they'll pop out here. Boom. Have them sort of jumping all over. And Becky's going to be sort of the ringleader here, so we're going to kind of use her shapes. And Corey, the little kind of skinny dweeb, will be sort of the scared guy here. So I might just do one character at a time. So then we can plot that out. Actually, that's probably the best idea I could do. So let's start cleaning some of this stuff up here. So Kristoff's in the middle. So just gonna take this, just put it right here for now, so I know. Gonna erase those. Gonna wireframe it so we see. So let's see what these guys can do. We don't have a lot of horizontal space, so what I might do is take all this and raise it up just a little so we get a little more in action scene. Select all, I'm gonna move this up, change that, see how that looks. Yeah, that's fine. Let me extend. Cool. Alright, then I can extend this one too. I work in groups a lot with Flash MX. It's not so buggy as if you were to kind of group your way through Animate, you'd find all sorts of problems. Among other problems. Okay, so let's clean that up. Okay, now let that stage and these guys, yeah. So, as I aforementioned, we're gonna do some red line stuff. So Kristoff will jump back. We want to frame out Dragor too, so Kristoff will jump back this way. Becky will jump off this way. Corey will jump off that way. And that way we frame out the big baddie here. And you'll notice when we add camera shakes and all our final animation, you could really get away with a lot of, you know, what I don't deem as great in-betweens. But, you know, action, it's all about eye movement and stuff, and where the audience's eye movement is. So I know a lot of people like to focus on a lot of detail, especially in animation and some more realistic stuff. But yeah, with our style, I don't really get hung up on it. I try to keep close attention to volumes, really, what frames out the shot the best, all that detail stuff.
Andrew's here.
Andrew. We got Andrew. How you doing, Andrew? Andrew, you might want to,
Cody.
yeah, Cody's not doing so hot.
Okay,
But Cody,
that's the usual.
but yeah, Cody's back though. Andrew, if you want to share the website, the bloodgame.com website, because we're going to release something pretty soon. So any of you interested in seeing something firsthand before we post it on our Facebook or to the public, you sign up here. We're gonna send out press releases and all that stuff, and you might even get a chance to see the new intro, which Bob's been plugging away at. Trailer. Oh, sorry, trailer, not intro.
No, that'll be a while.
That's gonna take. Yeah, you won't have to sign up to see the trailer. Sign up for the mailing list. Yes, please sign up. We'd love to see that list grow. It means we're doing something right. This whole experiment, it feels like we've been doing stuff right finally, so. Not the best picture of Corey here. And even though it's boards, I'm going to be a stickler and try to get the attitude right. Alright, so what's going to happen here? Those. And I'll treat boards a lot like in-betweens at this stage, where I'm just going to really map out the broad action, and we'll get it closer to the middle of the boards where it's more action heavy here. Like, you can kind of tell this is just laid out animation almost. But this ending, since it's sort of a big camera move, I'm going to keep it just the broad strokes here, get my bearings a little bit, then we can fine tune it. Can shrink these guys actually. Went a little thick too on this line work. So they pop out, they're all over there, so they're kind of hanging on to the debris here. I might actually just keep those white little blobs for now, because to get any intricate line work is not even going to make sense. So I'll do a better silhouette of it, but this will be Kristoff hanging off here. Becky hanging off here. And Corey hanging off here. Yeah, that looks better. So right now he flips around. They'll still be kind of hanging off debris here, which will just be masked in a shadow, so you'll just see sort of their upper halves while they're sort of hanging off a cliff, I'm thinking. I don't want to change that. I think we can make this a little slower. When you're doing like bigger characters and stuff, especially with this scale, the slower it looks, it feels a little more gigantic.
Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim, yeah, you'll see when they swing their sword in Pacific Rim, it takes like, you know, a regular knight, say, swinging a sword takes less than a second, but they're doing it for 4 seconds, anticing, and it just feels, when, you know, yeah, those big sounds and stuff, it really sounds giant. I'm gonna do it a little slower. Be a pain in the butt for animation, but. Move these keyframes. Alright, so now I'm going to work on this part. So this will be the horizon line. All 3 characters. Now what I had him do was hanging off debris, so we're going to have to rough out that a little bit. So just make a little debris field here. So I can have Corey here, kind of hanging on for dear life. Christoph was in the middle, so he could be hanging there too. And Becky hanging on here. Alright, so let's do this one. We can spend some time cleaning on this one. Even though it's a quick shot, I just want to, this is sort of the basis for my layout, which I'll go into animation probably next week. And so I'm going to want to plan this out a little bit more than just speeding through these roughs. So, clean up the background first, or clean up board-wise. I usually go to 200% for something like this wide. I'll do brush 4. I like the brushes in MX a little bit better. A little more control, a little more variance too in brush size. And I know in the new animated stuff you can scale your brush and all that stuff, but the ones that they choose here, you can see the very thin one. You know, that's as thin as it gets. And then if you want a lot of control, you zoom in and use the thick one. So for boards, or even sometimes animation, I think I use brush 4 a lot. I'll zoom in a little more when I clean up our animation because this line weight's way too thick. And what I also like about MX is you get the pressure sensitivity so nice, so you can get this real kind of chunky look if you're looking to do this debris stuff and make it look real ragged. You know, you can get cracks and all that goodness. We also use a lot of shadows and blood, the animated segments anyway. So. Christoph is hanging there. More cracks. More shadows, more cracks. The more beat up, the better now, I feel like. Though you'd never want the backgrounds to be too distracting either, so. And since we pan from the left to the right, we're going to have to extend it far this way too. So we don't have any negative space that shows up in the animation. Stuff like this, and we can just kind of make it look old. Alright. So what I'll do is color that in. I'll pick the color we've been using for the debris. We can make the inside of it look a little more, just give it a little dimension with the color here. For now, I'm just going to make that a group. And then I'm going to put the characters on top of them as a group. And what I'll do after that is make that whole thing a symbol, then separate the layers so the camera move stays accurate. So what did I say? We had Corey here. Let's rough him out a little bit more. And Corey has glasses, but I treat the glasses as I would the eyes. Other than when he blinks, then I don't make the glasses disappear. But if he's angry, a lot like Dexter. I mean, that's sort of what we're playing with here too.
Oh, we got a new.
What did we get?
The Handix. Hello. Just joined. Why do you still use Flash MX? What did they do wrong in the newer versions?
Okay. Let's see. I'll preface this by we grew up with MX. We're kind of older animators. Bob and I started early 2000s in the animation field, so MX was new. So I always start by saying that. So I'm very comfortable with MX. I've been doing it for um, coming up on 20 years now of animation. So with that in mind, I'm just very comfortable with it. But I find it draws a little bit better than Animate. I find it's a little more intuitive with the editing system and the undo systems. Um, and it's honestly the file sizes are smaller. I don't know why it is, to be honest, but it just is. You could do more traditional animation in it, I find, and more frame by frame. Where I think Animate's sort of suited for, a lot more people puppeting and that kind of stuff. And we've just
you can do that in MX. Just as
you can do puppeting in MX too. I just find it a little more intuitive, or maybe just I don't know if it just stripped down what it's like, just what you need or something is really what I think happens or is happening here. Where Animate just seems to be adding new functions, and I don't see it really improving any thing in terms of traditional animation. Now, if they have the bone tool and all that stuff, if you're into that kind of thing, so I understand why people use Animate, but for traditional, I just find it way easier. But after this Twitch is done, we have to shoot right back on to Animate and work on projects for clients. That's what we have to use for them. So we still try to keep in touch with it. But any personal projects we have is gonna, in all likelihood, be MX for all those reasons I stated. Made Christoph look kind of a big head here. But thanks for joining, and I hope you enjoy watching us plug our way through this.
and that's the law. You don't have to pay for MX.
You don't have to rent. Yeah, that's true. We're always renting. Every year we have to pay X amount to Adobe for something we don't even really admire using too much. So she's here, her cape's down here. Alright, let's clean her up. Oh, do you use MX at all? How do I say that? The Handex? The Handex, is that right? I'm so bad at things.
Grandpa to do today.
Don't. Grandpa Burns. He'll get on his porch and start shaking his fist. Let's see here. So let me clean up Becky here. She has her cape on. So what I think I'm going to do actually is to reveal this a little more. We're going to change some timing things up, but I'll show you what I'm going to do. So I'll call this, it's probably going to be scene 13 or something, but right now I'll just name it cliff scene. If you look at our library at the end of at the end of all this, it's always really messy anyway. So they're down here. And remember, this shadow will be there too, so we're gonna... So what I'm gonna do is make this handshake a symbol. And it's just 3 frames. So I'm going to Control-Alt-C. Control, I'll call it Dragor Fist. So I got the symbol, it's going to loop. I'm going to put it up here. Kind of line it up where I want it. Replace it with that. I'll put that over here for now, just while I wait. So I'm spacing it out here because I just need some room to breathe with it. So it comes down like that. We're going to do a close-up of the fist, and then what we'll do, sort of line those up here. So I'm going to push that over here a little bit. Also, I could change, now that I made it a symbol, I could change the angle, even though he sort of should be aiming for them. Maybe I'll change it like that. And that'll be the next one. So what I'll do is zoom this off real quick. So the camera's kind of panning past it. And when I do that, you always want to make sure you're following the contours with the camera. So you can see sort of the little exoskeleton of the direction here. So I just want to push it up there. And if it's something like a 45-degree angle, you can hit Shift. If it's something like a 66-degree angle, you can go 2 left, 1 up, or vice versa. But you always want to follow the contours of that, because a lot of people would just pan it up this way, and it doesn't look like the camera move, or at least a natural one. So we'll zoom out at -100. You see the camera, you kind of feel like that's already coming to it. So what I'll do is the opposite here. And I'll follow the contour of the fist there. We'll do the exact same thing, -100, so kind of goes like that. Now what I'll want to do is to make it feel like it's more of a distance, is I'll change the timing of the bottom layer. So that just feels like it's a little further apart. Take the fist again, move it over here. You see, so I'm going to change the angle of the fist here to kind of follow the contours of this fist going into the ground. Like that. Move that, kind of motion tween it there. So let's turn it here, and then what I'll do is just Shift F5, get rid of all that. Yeah, so that feels like decent timing. Yeah, and I could always tweak that if I need to, but it makes it feel a little more tension. And then we can see these guys flying up. Now from here, I'm just going to worry about Becky because she's the main head honcho here. So I'm going to make her run up this fist, kind of hang out on his shoulder, taunt him a little bit, and do all her kind of action first. And then we'll worry about the secondary characters. Alright. Now we can even speed that up too. That's not bad. Okay, so that's the red line. Can get rid of that. We kind of see it. So Becky is right there. The force of this would kind of catapult her this way, I'm thinking. Plus it gets her back into frame. So she could even look, rightfully scared here. And what I like about Becky is that whenever we want to, we can always kind of put her back in her cape. So if we just want her to run up the side of the arm, in just that triangle shape, we can do that. Our email's been acting so funny today. Okay. I don't know if it's Google or our internet. Could just be the joys of running a business. So I'm going to go to 200 again. Brush 4. Start cleaning her up a little bit. And I'm never afraid to go cartoony with these characters, even in sort of a serious-ish moment here. Part of the fun we're learning with this has been that we're telling a dark story with kind of violent overtones in a very cartoonish style. So I think it's more palatable for a broader audience too. So you'll see that her head's really big here. And, you know, when you're doing smaller characters too, I think they usually do bigger heads. Just to get more expression in these cartoonier kind of IPs. What are you working on, the snow background?
No, I was trying to finish
Oh,
that
yeah,
church.
the church.
I keep getting a little bit of nowhere.
Yeah, that's what I felt. That's why I did the boards this, you know, today. I was just like, I had to get something done. I think you know, I'm just as tired of doing these boards as you guys are probably watching it. Let's see, she might be a little big there. Scale her down. So what I'll do is just motion tween her up. We'll animate that traditionally, but so what happens is Dragor's kind of pushing his fist towards the camera. Like he's kind of dragging, like almost as if he's scooping up the ground right now. Oh, yeah, okay. So that's interesting. I'm gonna have to change that pose because that's... Yeah, you see, I got the wrong hand here. So we're gonna have to change that pose. But that's okay. I can jump over to that. So she lands, let's say... Okay, that's the debris, so we're gonna put the debris up here. Gonna turn that on. Turn that back on. So let's say she kind of dives back down here. She can start being more serious now. So that hand is going to keep going this way. She can kind of do a somersault here. And we're going to sort of get the fists eventually that way, and she'll be kind of running with purpose. Up the arm here. So we can kind of extend that shot a little bit too. So let's clean up that. So we can kind of zoom into the camera and then zoom out. And this pose now, since it's the other hand right here, we're gonna have to change this angle, because right now I pose that out as if it was the left hand, it's in his right hand. So when we eventually get to it, so he'll be extended like that, which is a better silhouette anyway. So let's just pose that out here. I'm going to shrink them a little bit so we see a little more. And she'll be kind of here with the rest of the team, let's say like that. So I'm going to get rid of that one. And then, I don't mind because she can leap here and turn to the other one, so we can change that angle. Or we can keep that drawing. So let's see here. So what I'll do first, so let me just finish this. This pose of her running. I could do like a little run cycle too and then play with the camera move. Get a lot of mileage out of it. Let's see, made that long, real long. Twisting the body a little bit. Alright, now we can clean that up. Make it look like something other than chicken scratch. Bless you. So let's go back to 200. Can make this a little bit of a thicker brush there. Give her a little bit of an extension. Fix the eye, for sure. To erase that so we can get a cleaner drawing. Trying to think what's a good mouth for that. don't know if it should just be kind of serious like that. Keep it like that for now. All right. So I'm just gonna make that a quick run cycle, and when I do boards, all I do is the up and down. So it's not gonna switch legs, but you know, when you're in boards, it'll look like a run anyway. How did you fill her in with white so fast? I just used the bucket tool and then just kind of click manically, I guess. I could also, if I'm sure there's no gaps in the lines, I can also zoom out a lot. Say you want to paint something, then you could hit paint behind and just do like with a really thick brush, you can zoom out as far as you want. Just paint behind like that, then erase around it. That could work too. So if you have a lot of detail and stuff, I recommend that. I always almost by default I keep paint behind on, because especially for the purposes of coloring, bucket tool saves lines. I love the animation style. I'm so looking for. Oh, thank you very much. You know, we're still a while out, but we've been showcasing it at indie conventions. We're gonna get to showcase it in New York City. June 7th at a festival, an animation festival that we host. And Andrew and Greg actually have been showing it off. They've been globetrotting. Andrew, where did you show it off last?
No, they haven't yet at all.
Oh, it's not. That hasn't happened yet.
AwesomeCon? I don't think AwesomeCon.
AwesomeCon hasn't happened yet.
Boy, that sounds very ironic.
But yeah, our writer Greg and one of our programmers Andrew. I once the streamers and YouTubers get a hold of you. You guys are going to be on fire. Oh, I hope so. We
got to give them something to play with.
We have to give them something to play with. Right now, a lot of people have asked us, "Are you guys really making something?" Because I think people just think it's an animation right now. So yeah, it's a playable demo. We got one kind of base level for where Becky's wandering around a school and fighting rats and bats and shadow vampires. We have a lot more assets to be programmed still. But, you know, the fundamentals are there. I mean, the controls are there. We got a lot of moves ready to be implemented. So we're off and running for sure. It's been fun watching it. You know, I can't really speak for any of the program language or any of that stuff, but, you know, it's been a real fun journey getting to watch them sort of go. You know, when we were in what was the con we went to? Magfest. Yikes. When we were in Magfest, you know, we'd spot a bug with the people playing it, and then Andrew or Cody would run back up to the room, fix it.
Excuse me.
Correction. Asterisk. Andrew would go.
Fix it.
And Cody would take credit for it.
Cody would just say, "Well, it wasn't my bug," and it wasn't my bug. When you don't do any of the coding, it can't be.
But it was awesome. They would just head up to the room with their laptop. He'd spend, I don't know, maybe an hour, and then he'd come back down with a new build, and while the other ones were playing, he would just replace it, and then it was all fixed. And I wish animation was sort of like that. Correction. Andrew fixed it.
Huge market, awesome. And yeah, we're hoping there's a market for 2D animated games still. Once we finish.
I mean, we're following in the footsteps of places like Cuphead or games like Cuphead, where they really leaned into just the animation in that one, and it seemed to, and it's so funny because we'll talk to producers or people who say what people want, all the tastemakers that claim to know what the audience wants and all that. You'll run into a lot of them.
Is all the animation
24 frames a second, or is just all of it's 24 frames a second. Now, during the gameplay, I don't know how it plays. I think it pans on 60 frames a second. Like
we've been talking about changing that. We're not quite sure how to make it.
I'm not sure how to do that at all, but that's an Andrew and Cody issue too. But yes, all the animation, including the sprite sheets.
Which game? We're using Unity to.
Unity, Flash, MX to animate, and what's the sprite sheet one called?
Texture Packer.
And Texture Packer to get all the animation from MX to Unity.
They were supposed to be talking to Unity.
UE4, I hope they use Unity. I don't know what UE4 means, but yeah, old school Flash, by the way. I see.
Unreal Engine.
Oh, is that what that is? Yeah, we use an old school Flash for sure. So now what I could do. So if you paid attention there, I just kind of made a straight line with shift, since this is sort of the contour of his arm. I could change that. But now what I could do is make this a symbol. Well, it is a symbol now. So she's running up that.
Lauren, artist, does the entire team work full time? No, we do not get to work full time on.
No, there was a time when we were kind of scrounging around for work as a studio when we got a lot of chance to work on Blood. We made a lot of headway, but our priorities sort of lie where this is a passion project where we hope to eventually work on it full time if it ever caught wind. But right now it's a passion project. But the majority of our time for Bob and myself is spent running our studio, which is a commercial studio, animation studio. So we've been doing a few commercials here and there. We're new clients right now. It's been a very busy month.
And how many people we have? Two artists working on it.
Yeah, we have 2 animators, Bob and myself. 2 programmers, Cody Greenhalgh, Andrew Tavis, and Greg Lane is our writer. So 5 people. And Greg, he knows like a little bit about Unity and all that stuff. So he's sort of the conduit between those two. So he's an artist. He knows writing and all that stuff. So he's a great addition to it too. Plus, he wrote all this really kind of cute dialogue with it. It's been fun watching him work. But Cody, Greg, and Andrew have worked in the gaming industry or the programming and interactive industry for quite some time now. Bob and I never really got to do that, though we've worked on games for other companies, but this is our first stab at trying to do it ourselves.
Actually, all we got to do was cutscenes anyway, so it wasn't really...
Yeah, no, it wasn't really programming. 3.
Oh, MX.
Oh, yeah, no, I love MX. MX, it's hard to go, like, at 4 o'clock I have to run back and use animate, and it's gonna make it hard.
Angry.
It's gonna...
We get a lot of crashing. The other thing we have to do is we have to break the files up a lot more.
Yeah, we just finished a project where it was 16 scenes, and
normally we would just do.
We would just,
scenes.
yeah, it was sequential scenes that we did, you know, it's just a story being told. But it was 16 files that you had to coordinate too now. And, you know, we boarded the whole thing in Animate, but as soon as you start bringing in, you know, these are somewhat complex characters and stuff, so lots of gradients and all that stuff. As soon as we start bringing in more, they would just get unbearable. So, you know, for a 48-second thing, we have 16 shots, and you know, trying to just trying to manage that has been, you know, just a pain. All right, so she rolls into that. Then we can zoom in. So let's do this little somersault here. How fast does it usually do a scene? It depends on the complexity of the characters, usually. The character design. The backgrounds are a big factor. For something in Blood, the cutaways I did fairly fast, I thought, but...
Yeah, those short cutaways, yeah.
Those short cutaways, I would spend, you know, 2 afternoons on and get it done. I'm very familiar with the characters, though, and since we're both the lead animators, you know, we don't have a big barrier of entry to, you know, once it's done, it's done. I know bigger companies like to, I don't know why they like to prolong that, but maybe that's why they're big and we're small, scrounging around for pennies.
I animated 2 minutes and it took forever. I switched
to
2 minutes. Cents.
2 minutes is a long time still, though. I mean,
by yourself too.
To animate. I mean, we worked on what is that, Cody?
What's done is done, Dad.
What's that? No, we did sort of a 7-minute pilot that took us 9 months to do. You know, it was seriously intense animation, though. I mean, we were animating everything on that, so that took 9 months. And it was part-time too, you know, it was only at night and stuff. But then, you know, if it's set up in Flash properly and it's puppeting, we did, you know, a minute and a half each in a week from storyboards.
The KO stuff.
When we worked on OKKO, Let's Play Heroes, the video game, and we did all the cutaway scenes on that. And, you know, we got super fast at that. It was 30 minutes of animation that, you know, our studio was responsible for.
Somebody asked, do you guys ever bring on other animators for big projects? Or, I mean, we mainly tackle it ourselves.
We usually do it ourselves. We do occasionally have to hire a freelancer. We have a kind of our staple of freelancers we reach upon. Mostly this guy, Jared Deal. He's been helping us a little bit here, and it's really only when we can't manage it. And we usually take jobs that we can manage. You know, sometimes it's been a bit of a crunch, and then we had to, you know, ask Jared to step in for us. But I think the OKKO project was the only one where we hired him and Chris Conforti. And we could have done it. I think we could have done it ourselves. Things got a little extended, and then we could have done it ourselves, but you know, that doesn't always work in your favor. And the recent job we did too, we probably could have got it done ourselves, but we were told a certain deadline, and we hit the deadline, and then it didn't air anyway. So.
Do we have an internship program?
We've had one intern actually.
But we're also so far out from.
Yeah,
anything.
And we're so far from the city that it's you know, it's hard for people to make it out here. Honestly, it says New York and Long Island, and that doesn't, you know, it's pretty deceptive. It's about I don't know.
Of course,
Wow.
2.5 hours. In
No,
in
yeah,
traffic or your own
probably,
traffic,
yeah,
right?
probably longer.
Alright.
So yeah, I mean it's hard for people to come out here. Plus we have a small space and only a few computers, so it's been our it's that's the most difficult part for us if we ever were to expand is the theoretic thing, like the theoretic limits of how we could, because it's a practical thing where we don't have a lot of space. We don't have a lot of computers. We could get computers.
We have the space too, but it's more the people don't.
Yeah, people showing up and doing it and stuff. And I was partially in charge when I worked at another studio, as you know, I kind of wrangled up the interns, and they were pretty much assistant animators when we we were doing it at that studio, and so I would set up all the files and stuff, and which that was a job into itself, was just sort of setting up, training the interns and stuff, and since it's only two of us, you know, us providing all that stuff for the interns would take one or both of us off our obligations as a studio. So it becomes a thing where we'd have to hire sort of an intern coordinator too. But we'd have to train that person too. So it's a
Would you
sticky
say
wicket.
We have a healthy work-life balance.
No. I'd say we have a very unhealthy work-life balance.
Definitely
I don't
not the
sleep.
LA work life, that's for sure.
We don't sleep very well. I worked till midnight last night. I had to get my son ready for school, so I was up at 5:45.
No.
Yeah, so just no. Because no, our schedules are super demanding. Plus, we have 3 jobs going on at the same time, and you know, I don't think anyone in animation that truly animates and does it independently can have a very good balance. Now but there are times when work's slow, and then we catch up with our families and stuff. But no, it's not an easy road. So I'm gonna go.
Hey, Cody's, your body's not very healthy. I don't know about your life. Seems just fine.
What is Cody right there?
He said, I'm beginning to think my life ain't very healthy.
No, Cody.
I'm starting to think your intestines are not very healthy.
Cody.
What you spend-
Cody spent the night in the hospital yesterday, last night. So,
Needs to get that appendicitis over with.
so yeah, no, it's tough. This life, it's hard. It's a hard thing. When I was just an animator, it was a little easier, but I feel like I was working around the clock for someone else too, so it's been a little more stress than I would like. But I don't know what else I would do, so I'm kind of stuck. But any animator in this feed, I'm sure, can contest that it's just you're up late a lot. What bothers me is I don't think I wish we could plan deadlines a little differently, because everything's always this manic rush, I feel like. And then you finish it, and then the client shows their client, 7 weeks later, and I'm like, what was all that? Why was I up last night for so long?
Is it worth it in your eyes? I guess they're saying that the bad work balance, is it worth the...
Is it where...
Like, I guess...
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I thoroughly enjoy what we do. I like the idea of legacy a lot, and we're kind of leaving something that behind, no matter what happens to us or in this lifetime, we can have something to show. We like film and stuff, and I look at ourselves as filmmakers too, so we're making these little short films, and not on a grand scheme, but it's an art, you know. So I think arts are worth sacrificing for.
Wave.
Oh, wave principle and animation. Okay, I'm going to show you a real easy way to think about waves.
What kind of waves are we talking about?
Are you talking about like waves in the ocean, or just sort of like how a snake would slither,
Or hand waves.
or hand waves, or it's all the sort of the same arc, but because I could show you a real easy thing in Flash that you could do right now. Hair close. Okay. I'm just gonna help someone out here.
Yeah, that's what we said we were.
Yeah.
We didn't feel like doing doors anyways.
Okay, so let's see here.
All this.
Okay.
All this waves. Flags.
Waves and flags?
No, I'm just gonna make it.
Oh, okay.
Work.
So I'm just gonna make a simple kind of character here. Character with long hair. So let me just clean this up. So I'm gonna separate this character's hair right now. We don't need any. Don't need any detail in it. So, what I would do first, if it's a windy day, just sketch out the arc of the hair. So I would follow the contour of, let's call it her right now. We could just send it there. Just say that, and then you could do extraneous stuff too. Like you could have like extra hair down here, up there. But right now, let's just focus on sort of the bulk of it. Let's say we'll make it a second long. I know a lot of, so your inclination is a lot of new animators sort of, when they do a flag wave or something like that, is they'll do the opposite of the S curve, which you have to do anyway. So this would go up here, that would kind of flow down, that to that. And the same here, so that'll go up, down. So you got sort of that movement going. Now, a lot of the instinct is, because you're taught to in between a certain way, that you're just going to go, you know, this goes, or this goes down, so a straight line almost would, like the in between of that would be a straight line. When in reality, like waves on an ocean is A, B. This is A down here. Well, this will turn into A, and B is sort of over here now. So what you're going to in between is this part right here. So the wave continues up, the same arc, goes down and around like that. Bottom does the same thing. This is A, or AA right here. So you could go like that. Now turn this one into it, and A now goes over here for this last frame. So that one goes down. And it's the same with the bottom of the summit too. or the bottom of the slope rather. So then you got sort of the wave, and then the rest would follow with the in-betweens and all that stuff. Now these are easier in-betweens now because you sort of have the arc mapped out. So go like that. Remember, this one's still following up here, so that. Now I'm going to show you a real easy way to do it with shape hints too, which is a flash cheat. So you kind of got this thing going here. And then you can do secondary stuff if you have like a loose piece of hair here and like there. But you would just do the same exact principles here where just do that. Now I'll show you a little trick that helped me do this. I'm just gonna call it. So what you can do is take the line tool, take the smooth tool. You can do this in Animate too. And what you do, actually maybe, what I'm going to do is just make an S-curve. Alright. I'm going to do a 25, that's 1 second. I'm going to hit shape. Now nothing happens, right? So what I'm going to do is hit Control-Shift-H, which adds a shape pin. Shape pins. Now I'll do the same thing where you could do A's here. Now remember the A is going to be over here this time. And theoretically, what happens is a wave. Now you can make that a symbol. And so let's say I make this a symbol right here. Hair wave. And then you could easily sort of. This not, you know, if you're looking to do it traditional though, I mean, I'd recommend not using these cheats, only as a guide. But then you could twist it like that. Like, so you could do, so you could sort of mock hair there, you see, and then you have the hair wave. And what's really cool about Flash is you can stagger it, so it'll look like a more natural wave. So this is on single loop frame 1, so I'll go to loop frame 3, and then it sort of has a more natural kind of curl to it. So that, then you could just fill it in. Let's see here. Go. I'll show you another trick. So you're going to break all that. Messed up something here. Okay. Going to put them all on one layer. And I heard there's tale of you could do this in one swoop in Animate, which, you know, check 1 for the pro column. They were due. Okay, so now that's all on one layer. Then you can color it any color you want. Alright. So if you're doing like a water animation where you don't see it hitting the shore, you could do this just as the horizon too. Alright, so now you have this thing. And again, what's nice about Flash is you can make this a mask and make like put real hair texture in it and stuff. It would look kind of weird, but you can do stuff like that. So
There's people doing that. So.
and you can name that hair. 2. Erase that. That guy there. Alright, just gonna change the background color. And I would line this up better, obviously. But, you know, she goes bald for a second there, but yeah, I need to sort of get the principle here. You can kind of go like that and then fudge it. And the only real problem is the end, because hair doesn't usually do this, like around this area. You know, that looks a little flashy, so it would never like really lump in that like that. So that's the only downside to it. But you can get away with a lot.
How old is this program anyway?
Oh, I 1999, I think it came out. No, was it? No,
It might have been in the. Oh,
It
no,
wa-
it might have been like 2000.
it might have been early
or
2000s.
something like that. But still, it's. But that's the thing. Nothing's really changed. They just mess with it a lot. There's a couple. I mean, that
Oh,
stuff's been
that-
there
no,
since.
no, that
Stuff's been there since '95. It's just. There are
No,
bone
it's-
tools that don't actually work right. and-
it's been a real. They didn't make traditional
No,
animation any easier, which is to call it animate is sort of like I don't know.
They said about. Sorry about interrupting, but.
Oh
kind
no,
of
no,
what we-
anytime. Anyone has any questions like that, please. We're here to
That's kind of what we're
help.
turning this into.
No, I'd love to. I love to show you any cheats we can come up with, or tools, or how we use it. So what I could do then is go like this. Maybe not 0. We'll do. So we can keep her running. I might not. Center. So we'll zoom out to that. Her running up there. Can make that a lot quicker, I don't think. No, they didn't. I don't know. At least I'm just an old bitter man. I get that, but they didn't really. They sort of didn't make animate for the people who've been using Flash for ages, which I don't know. I didn't like
make it for everyone. And
No, they're trying to make it's like what Apple's doing. It's like, everything's just a toy now. But the phones don't work. So, I don't know. We have emojis though, so I guess that's a net gain of 0. So no, I would if this was in Animate, you would see. I mean, I should just so you guys don't think we're just smack talking here. I should kind of do something in Animate just to show you how bad I am at it. So we're gonna use him as a background here too, so we can start panning up. So we're gonna, kind of make another fake camera move here. So we can clean that one up. What? How did I make him look before? Oh yeah, he has a serious V-neck like that Chuck Norris meme.
he really does have some happy bro up approach.
Come at me, bro. Okay, so we're gonna make this a background so we can again play with the zoom ins and all that kind of stuff. Oh, goodness. So let me clean that up. We'll zoom into 250. Give us a little bit of breathing room. Brush 5. I'll do brush 5. Yeah, I hate Apple products too. No. No, it's funny. They developed such a culture though that people love it. So anything they come out with is looked at as very innovative, and which I think they were, is ironically, but I don't know. We have a Mac Mini here that we've been using as old as Flash because they won't come out with the newer one they just did. But how long was that? Like, and how many variations of the iPhones came out between those? You know, it's like the iPhone didn't exist, and then we're on iPhone 10, which I don't know, works 40% of the time. So, yeah, it's not everything's progress. See, that's his collar, so that goes behind him. This is kind of they wear the kind of classic vampire suits, all them, like the
We're
three
just deciding
piece.
that right now as
Well, I just decided that. Andrew, write it in. And when are we hoping to release the trailer?
I think probably as early as maybe Monday.
Monday? Oh.
So if everybody signed up for the mailing list, we can.
Dedicated to animation. No, I'm you know, I never used TV Paint and I never used Toon Boom, so I can't speak to those. But it really it's just a tool. Like whatever, I don't want a program to be the reason I animate either. You know, I want the tool to work, and I want to learn how to use the tool and then just apply my trade to it. So, you know, I just tell when anyone asks me what would you recommend, kind of whatever you learned in school and whatever is fastest for you to draw the easiest. Everything else can be learned. I'm going to separate that hand so I can do some multi-pointing.
Yeah, we're only going to release the trailer to the mailing list.
Yeah, the mailing list is just the trailer for now because we want to give them the front row.
Sign up from MagFest and all the other conventions.
Yeah, the people from MagFest started signing up there, so we wanted to keep them in the loop, and seemed only fair. All right, yeah, a little bit of okay, so that's so right now I'm just adding a little highlight, so I'll do the selected fill or paint selection. Just sort of wing it, and since the light direction is coming from stage right, anything that would touch that would get the highlight treatment. Alright, so we're going to call that G. Just going to group that one. Let's do a little hand here for some multi-planing. And multi-planing's the use of two different planes of background that would pan at a different rate to give it the illusion of depth. Made famous by Disney back in the day and by the Fleischers when they
Oh, those
when they
stop
did
motion ones were
oh, it's incredible what they were doing. You could watch a Popeye, like a black and white Popeye, and they had they built out models that was on sort of like I don't know what it was. It was some sort of sphere that they turned it
I
around
think
or
they
something.
Yeah, it was almost.
It looked incredible. So we're gonna pan that up. So what I'll do is name this one Dragorbg. Again, I'll have to label these all better when we get to it.
I think there's something to be said for developer-driven free tools like Blender. I never heard of quite a GIMP, etc.
Yeah, I don't know any of those. Are those for
free
animators or?
Well, GIMP I think is like a Photoshop.
Oh, okay.
It's like a free Photoshop. Blender I think is animation.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know if it's more 3D though. I'll look into that.
So we're gonna line up the line of the hand right here, sort of, just to make a
Oh,
broad
they can all
cut.
do vector 2D.
Yeah, I never heard of it.
I know my brother-in-law, I think they were using GIMP for stuff.
For matte painting and stuff?
Yeah.
So what we can do here is make that a lot quicker. And you know we can shrink her. So that's a bit of a cheat there, but we can time that as much as we want here. Blender is especially impressive. Oh, cool.
You know, we kind of know our two programs, and we can do something from start to finish, and we haven't really.
Yeah, we never really
ventured off into trying to figure out if it's not broke.
So let me turn this on a little bit. So she'll jump from here. She'll land over here. Alright. So I'm treating him almost like the background now, since we're kind of going to focus on what Becky's going to be doing. And the line weight's real horrendous now because I had to shrink her down. But again, for boards, it doesn't pay to just do it for boards. So she's going to jump. Land. And mind you, there'll be the 3 characters in it too, so it'll fill out the screen better. She'll be here with the other 3 guys. Might have to shrink her even to fit all the other guys. I'm gonna leap off the screen here. Then we're gonna pan up and see her, and they're all, you see all three of them as she comes towards the camera. So let's clean up some of that. Alright, let's clean her up here. These are so small, it's almost just doing the shapes here. So I'm going to group her so I can pan her during this. Just something you get in trouble with. Almost like I should do it different. That's decent. $250. That's what I figured of that. Okay, so Monday is what we're releasing it? Is that what I said?
So I think that's. I mean, as long as
so everyone's
together, which I think we do.
Oh, cool.
Sending it out. Mailing list.
That's awesome.
I think we decided on which song to use.
I have to watch. I haven't watched them down. I trust you guys. So she'll turn around here to look scared. You see already, I could tell this is gonna be too zoomed in. So we're gonna have to shrink this down. Because we're gonna need all three of them. All right, we're close to having this in the bank.
Wow.
Well,
Only took 8 streams.
it only took us 4 months. 2 hours a week, and you two could have a board that no one will see. I love playing with scale like this too, like giant versus super tiny. Animating small is so much fun. It's just so much easier when you animate like just these little shapes.
So much more of that flex than.
Oh yeah, than we intended. But even the sprites, they're kind of small, but those are fun to animate. zoom her off here. So she'll fly off there. It kind of looks like she's just taking off, but we're gonna cut up here. So he's gonna turn his head, and this will be the back of his head now. Like he kind of follows them up. He can actually be really big here. Get rid of his arm. So he'll look up. The moon will be sort of there shining down on him. All three characters will be kind of up there. So it's sort of like we're slowly gonna truck into them while they trucking at us, and then we'll slowly sort of become the perspective of Dragor at the end here. Let's clean him up first. Alright, we're gonna make him look extra angry. Got his collar here. Fill him in. Now the moon's on the other side, so because he did a 180, so we'll have to play with the highlight on this side now. Paint selection, turn it to white. This could all be done in After Effects, and I'm hoping Bob will make it that way. Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Alright, so I'm going to just do a circle for the moon right now. Actually, I got a moon in the very beginning I could just grab. So I'm just going to make the background pretty dark here, just since I'm kind of laying out the last shot here. So it'll be a little slower for him to turn around. This I don't really need anymore. So you'll see these three kind of, oh, still got paint selection on. You know, indications of they're this high up now. Corey. And what we'll do is slowly truck in now. Or we're gonna sort of like do a big ease out here. So let's say this is drive door. Last shot, I'll just pull it. So those guys. That. So he's going to turn around. He's going to get closer to the camera. So just slowly go that way. The moon will probably stay about the same. Let me just move the moon a little bit more so they're more framed. So he's going to turn around, and what I do is I do a kind of an ease out like that, like it's super quick. Then I make multiple keyframes the whole time. And then I just space it out a little different. It gives it that kind of more anime-ish timing where it's all shot in 4s and 3s and all that kind of stuff. Gives it a little more drama. Yeah, something like that. Then he'll start going up. He'll start attacking. Bite almost. Well, we start slowly zooming in. I just reverse these. All right, so as they slowly start coming down, so you can see he's like kind of going towards them, and then we're gonna truck past him and eventually get you know, where we center in on the, not that close. They slowly start coming into focus, and they're going to come towards the camera until they're the whole camera, and then we're going to cut the blood. So this is really basic timing here. Where Becky's the... So if you can slowly come back and So we'll have to play with that timing a little. Let me just get that cleaned up first, and then I can figure out the timing, and then those black shapes we can turn into the characters. So what I'll want to do is make sure that moves. So if you would go like that. And then we're going to have to play with that timing a lot. Something like that, and then that's the title. And you get to play the game. Which we promise is a game. Gonna have to take our word for it. Alright, let me clean up Dragor. And I use Flash sort of like this is kind of shoddy camera work, but when we kind of animate it and make it more traditional like, it's gonna look I don't want it to feel like it was made in Flash, like you can see the camera moves necessarily, so we're gonna have to play with the timing and all that and really fine tune it, but this is sort of just for you guys here and us at the studio to make sure we like this idea even before we sort of get to the brass tacks of it all. Just trying to get what's in our head on the screen and then polish it. Just do the selected fill again. So I'm just going to do a simple camera shake here for him. Just kind of lunging at him. And that's just an up and down, so. Yeah, the moon wouldn't move that fast, obviously, so we're going to change that timing. Alright, so let's... Oh, not 900. And that's another thing I had a problem with Animate is the undos have always been really troubling. you like you'd pop inside a symbol and not and all that stuff. It was really always annoying to me. Something. We could play with that timing a lot, actually. That's not working. What is the... Oh, because I did it to the wrong guy. Wrong timing. Over to 100. This is 0. And we'll play with that timing there. Alright, so I think we get a sense of that. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm always worried it's boring watching stuff like this. Something like that, and we can add some action lines, and then I would do that timing thing again, because you don't want to pan ever on ones with this kind of stuff. Just mess with the timing for now. Could keep him on it. Something like that, I think. So they'll be sort of kind of attacking at the same time, but obviously we have to change those shapes and stuff, and we have to put in the other 3 characters too. How much time we have left? Alright, we have some time. There's 13 minutes left. If anyone has any questions or ways we can, it doesn't have to be blood or anything. If you guys want a quick tutorial on anything, let me know. If not, I'll just keep working on this. Yeah, someone else. Alright. This is so very cool. I love the style. The shapes are so fun. Thank you. Yeah, we try to make it as cartoony as we can. So I love playing with expressions. I love using the big head as a canvas and filling it out. Like, I always make the eyes way bigger than they should be. I make the mouth way smaller than they should be too. So I'm just gonna watch this through one time and see if there's any timing issues I have, which I think I just saw a few, so let's just watch it from the jump. You can tell what week I was working on it by the thickness. I did it, like, some of it's super rough. So he wrestles. Before he gets... Ryan, run this too fast.
Are we inspired by?
Which games are you inspired by? Well,
This one obviously is.
my favorite game I played of late is Last of Us. I still think it's just a masterpiece. Not that this game's not inspired by that necessarily, really. I mean, that's not even close in the same genre or anything. Oh, I guess it's survival horror a little bit, but I just think the storytelling and the emotion in it and everything is just really spot on. That's the last game I played, and then I played it again because I was so invested in it. But games that inspire this one are like the older Zeldas. I love A Link to the Past. I love the Minish Cap. What other games are we in? We don't get to play as much as we probably should to be in video games, but I mean, I'm very... like, I love old school stuff. Me and my son play Super Metroid on the weekends. Like, I love that game. What else? What else? Ooh. Cody, gonna chime in here? Maybe Andy could show any time-saving techniques that we show you guys. Oh, okay, I can show you a quick trick on how to do stuff a little more traditional. If you want like a hand drawn look, but you want to do some puppeting, I could show you some stuff like that. I hardly play games.
Yeah.
No, the older I get, the less chance I get to play. So it's a bit of a bummer. Let me show
Stop
you.
playing with what my kids want to play now.
I don't. I like Super Metroid, but my son just keeps wanting me to play he calls it the pterodactyl monster over and over, so I have to keep reloading it. He's only 3, so. Let me show you some time. I'm gonna watch it one more time, and we'll set up something to show you like what I call the shimmer, or a way to traditionally animate something. Make it look traditionally animating while still using like flash practicalities. And it's all about motion tweening and shooting it on 2s and that kind of stuff. But if you build up a big enough library, it's easy to actually. Could I show them the AVGN stuff? That's aired, right? That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did some stuff for Angry Video Game Nerd, where I'll show you what we did to make it look all hand drawn.
BTV is here.
Oh, how's it going? Hey, you're an hour and 52 minutes into it. We're gonna show some AVGN stuff we did in the past. All right, so we're gonna not discontinue Blood, but I'm gonna turn this one off. We're really close. I just had to add those 3 characters in. I could probably do that this weekend night or something. So we're gonna start animating next week. I'll get this ready, and we're just gonna start from the beginning, starting maybe with this owl in the tree, and by Drawing Blood, episode 99. I think we might have this thing finished. Oh, thanks so much. I'm glad you enjoyed. Yeah, it's. I played with some timing today and stuff, so I think I'm pretty happy with this. Now, when it comes to animation, I'll have to really fine tune it. Plus, I'm having. I want some sound to it because I feel like that'll speed things up too. How did you do those tree in betweens in the first shot? Like the blur? It was just a mix of 2 shots. What I did is set up a symbol here where everything's multiplaned. So I separated each layer, the moon, the background trees, the midground trees, and the foreground trees, and then the cloud just sort of do that. And then I panned them, I multiplaned them, so the background goes down, the foreground goes up. The midground pretty much stays in the middle, though it looks like I raised them up a little bit. And the moon slowly goes down. Then I kind of matched the colors of the storyboards here. I panned at the same time while adding the action lines in the place. And the action lines are just that, which is just a simple I just use squares and rectangles, and you can see I just kind of moved some shapes around like that, and when it's played on ones and panning, it kind of feels like action lines. Then it'll shoot off and this will come up, so this will be more like this scene will kind of be like this rather, so this will shoot up. But I had to fudge with the camera move and stuff to make sure it's right in flash. So this will kind of come up so it pans nicely like that. That'll go a lot faster too.
Natalie asked, do we always make loops for our sprites? I feel like we couldn't.
Yeah, everything's on we use I think it's either 36, like a second and a half, or 24 frames, so it's on beats of a second or a second and a half. and derivatives of that. So if it's shorter, it'll be 13 frames. If it's shorter than that, 7, but it'll always sort of be on that track, and it'll always loop. Um, all the idle animations sort of go up like an ease in, ease out. And I think every character is sort of on that same chart, so it always feels alive. We don't have any still frames, really, with the character animation. They're always either shimmering or doing something. So I'm going to show you our AVGN stuff. We did Angry Video Game Nerd. And I'll show you the secret to how we made that quicker while making it look hand-drawn. So first let me open it up and we'll play it. This has curses in it. Just heads up if anyone's offended. I don't know what you're doing on the internet, but here we go. Does this have audio? Okay.
Well, fuck. Let's move on to Zelda 2.
Well, the overhead world
The
is
link
kind of
and
slow.
like multiple
Everything
moves.
looks like a lot.
How do you approach it?
That was
Oh, that was if we're doing like a combo move and stuff, we'll always link up the first frame with the last frame of the previous one. And if you let go of the button, it'll always kind of go back to idle. So every animation we do has a return to idle, too. So it's a little more smoothly.
Link is like, getting a little the old in out.
Yeah, so this one's pretty sexual in nature, but it's a quick one, and I'll show you how we sort of got this little boil going here.
He's not going to get any from Zelda. What was Link doing there in the first place? No. Link's a
Okay, and our pixel art stuff. No one needs to see that. Okay, so what I did with this one, I don't know if you guys could see it from there, but if you watch it, you can see it's all sort of boiling a little bit, or I call it a shimmer. So what I did, and video games are the perfect application for this, because I made just a few things to make this whole background. So this is an element and it's a symbol. That's an element. The fire is a symbol. And I think I even broke down the background in a similar fashion where you can see all these things are kind of sprites as well for the pattern. And what I do is make each one a symbol. Then I'll just retrace it twice. And you can see on my timeline here, there's 3 separate frames. I kind of do it crudely because I don't want to make it too accurate, else it'll look like nothing. Like it's just a waste of a few drawings. So it'll be like that. So that's for the background stuff, and I just kind of tile out all that stuff. And you can see how many layers there are. But there's only a few bricks. So it's a lot like building a video game in that regard. For the animation, I did the same exact principle. And you'll see my charts on the top here, where I shoot everything on 2s. So for James here, it looks like it's all one drawing, but in reality, I got this torso shimmered. This is the exact same leg as this leg, I assume. Yep. And the head, I broke it up in the same way. And then you get puppet stuff. So the glasses are... I made glasses like the, whatever you call it, the arm of the glasses. His pupils. His nose and glasses. His eyebrows. Hat. Hair. Let's go.
Well, fuck.
So now...
Well, fuck. Let's move on to Zelda 2.
So you can see I did just a few drawings. So really all I had to do once all those things were done was set up the lip sync.
Well, fuck.
Which I think I just made a simple kind of lip sync mouth. And then just puppet them across using the anchor points and stuff. Then once the head's done, then I could puppet it while twisting this. You'll see this is the same exact thing, just getting twisted. Then I'll in between a few here just to make it look somewhat traditional. And then it's right back to puppeting again.
Well, fuck. Let's move on to Zelda 2.
So it, you know, it's a lot of drawings initially, but
Well,
I got a lot of,
let's move on to Zelda 2. Well,
you know, and you'd be hard pressed to think that that wasn't traditional, even if I can do the cheats. Now something like this is, I probably just puppeted this arm, I'm thinking, right? Yeah, so, no, I just in betweened it. Yeah, but I did the same exact thing with this one, just broke up the body. How do eyeballs not stick out of the glass frame? Never use flash. I just drew right to it, I just matched cut it for the eyeballs. You can mask it too, but for something that I was only going to use once, I just match cut it.
everything looks like a block.
Same thing here. Now I'll animate the arm, but everything else is sort of, you know, it goes down and then everything's separated, and then it's just the arm. So it's really just a lot of puppeting, and like that's all the same arm, the arm holding the sword. This is just a morph which I had to animate. Shot that one on ones. Now this is something I did a lot of shape tweening on. You can see this is all puppeting too. But what I did was make this is all line tool, so you can break the line tool and the line weight stays the same. But it's the same thing as puppeting. Is there any other secrets in this one? This one's just a lot of separated layers here, but it's all just drawn a couple times and then puppeted. You know, the shield is separated, the glove, like all that stuff separated. The rubies are just one ruby.
In each town, there's a woman.
Her, I just animated the arm.
She invites Link inside.
This one I did a little traditional, but
And you never see what's happening.
that's puppeting,
Potion,
puppeting.
magic spell. No.
Just animated a few things on her, secondary.
Link is like
Everything's separated here.
In out, in out. I mean, this isn't a little boy.
This one I did
or he's
shape
grown up.
tweening again, where I don't know if I have the raw art for this, but this is, see if I have that somewhere. Scene 11. But you see, I broke it all down, unless I have it. Do I have the torso? So that was all, it was all on separate layers and stuff, but I made just a morph out of shape tweens, sort of like how I was doing the hair earlier. Then I did the same thing. Do I have the head here? Yeah. Oh, okay, here's the raw art here. So this is all broken down on one layer. Whoop. Now we can go through each layer here. Those are just the eyes, which you don't need to see. But let's go layer by layer here. So the ear turns into just a little smaller ear. I'm assuming that's an ear too. This is the hair symbol. It just switched to a sideburn hat, just into a smaller hat. Oval, square into an oval. I don't know what that is. I guess it's the eyebrow to eyebrow. So I just kind of line up each layer. This into a more straight face nose, mouth to a smile. That's just the gap tooth in his mouth. That's just under his chin. Hair to hair. Now that has a lot of shape tweens in it, or shape hints in it, I'm sure. So it's just a lot of layer management for something like that. But it's a lot quicker than me in betweening it all.
Grown up now. Link deserves to get some because of all this hell he goes through. He's not going to get any from Zelda. What was Link doing
So
there in
that-
the first place?
is sort of an example of how we would expedite things, where it's just a little more prep work in the beginning, but you could reuse the characters. If you're not all that concerned with line weight, you can use the torso again and again as long as you want.
Okay.
And we did a couple of these for James and Mike, in the exact same style, you know, where it's all shimmered and stuff.
Was that drawn in pencil tool?
The pencil tool with the shape tweens, yes, you have to do it in that. Which it's hard. It's a lot harder to draw on the pencil tool.
A lot harder.
Yeah, it is. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. But we're just wrapping up here. But I could show you. I'll show you the animatic we worked on. All right. So one last time. Oh my gosh, I'm tired. Get the shot with holy water. Oh, nice work on Gannon. Yeah, that was fun. I want to do another short for them when things calm down. And that'll be the title right there. What is next when we work on this? Well, next week we're going to do some animation in this, and I'll probably just start in the very beginning. Probably with the owl, and probably get to around here. And we'll just chip away at it, one character at a time. Andrew, where's the... Andrew, if you want to just share the blood game thing again. Thank you. Thank you so much. If you want to share that again, have all you guys sign up. You'll get a first-hand look at our newest trailer before anyone else on bloodgame.com. Which for a woman who was sitting on the toilet and it started. What if a woman was sitting on the toilet and it started? Is that what you want me to animate next? It's still not working. Oh, bloodgame.com's not working?
No, that's where I had the wrong.
Oh, okay. Bloodgame.com. Yeah, so sign up there. I think Monday. Don't quote me on that, but we'll show you guys and first-hand look at the trailer before anyone on our website or not this website, but our sites do. And keep in touch and keep those questions coming. And we hope to see all you next week. And thanks for joining us, as always. We appreciate the word of mouth with all of this. And we appreciate all you guys watching us toil away at this stuff. So enjoy the weekend, everyone, and hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.